The biggest value of money isn't to buy luxury goods, but to gain control over your time and life, the ultimate form of freedom. Morgan Housel's Psychology of Money is a must-read for anyone who wants to make smarter financial decisions and have a better relationship with money. The psychology of money is the study of our behavior with money. According to the author, the key to managing your relationship with money and having a happy and fulfilling life is twofold. 1. Get clear on your financial goals. 2. Design your own game plan that achieves those goals and stick with it. Don't try to impress others. It's not worth it. Who is this review for? 1. The 28-year-old who feels like they're behind with their finances and need help. 2. The 40-year-old life coach who wants to deepen their financial knowledge to better help their clients. And 3. The 22-year-old economics student who wants to expand on their study materials. The psychology of money is the study of our behavior with money. Let me share some good news. Success with money isn't about knowledge, IQ, or mathematical prowess. It's about behavior. Everyone is prone to certain behaviors over others. We're all wired differently. Our passions, fears, and dreams are different. When we hear the word money, we all have unique thoughts and emotions too. Understanding the psychology of money will help us be aware of those thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. Once you become aware of your tendencies, Housel writes, you can harness the power of your own mind, your thoughts, and your will, and you can literally change your life. Even though finance is overwhelmingly taught as a math-based technical field where you put data into a formula and the formula tells you what to do, we humans are irrational, emotional beings and not ROI optimizing machines. Many finance books focus on the technical aspects of money and investment, like how to select stocks or optimize a portfolio. But financial success depends more on one's soft skills, how one manages their psychological and emotional impulses, than one's technical skills on financial analyses, market rules, laws, etc. Think about it. Through collective trial and error over the years, humans have learned how to become better farmers, skilled plumbers, and advanced chemists. But has trial and error taught us to become better with our personal finances? Are we less likely to bury ourselves in debt? More likely to save for a rainy day, prepare for retirement? Or, the author states, and I agree, that he hasn't seen compelling evidence that supports the idea that humans have a better relationship with money now than they had decades or centuries back. And that's great news. I don't have an MBA in finance and I am a financial engineer. But that does not stop me or anyone else from being wealthy in the future. We just need to be patient and have a better relationship with money. The Psychology of Money is a collection of short stories exploring the strange ways people think about money. The author presents related biases, flaws, behaviors, and attitudes that affect one's financial outcomes and shows how one's psychology can work for and against them. Using this knowledge, he argues, we can make better sense of one of life's most important topics, money. What follows is an attempt at summarizing this inspiring book, a few short and actionable lessons that can help you make better financial decisions. Let us see how our psychology can either work for us or against us. If you want to go through the textbook, you can buy from the link given in the description. It will be small help for me. By the way, let's move to chapters of this book. Chapter 1. No one's crazy. People have different views about money. Even though money has been around for thousands of years, many of us are bad at saving and investing for retirement. We all do crazy stuff with money. But we are not crazy. The reason why we don't always do what we're supposed to with money is because of the following two reasons. A. We are all relatively new to this game. Most of our modern investment financial tools are actually very new. For example, USA's 401k, the backbone of their retirement planning, was introduced in 1978, and the Roth IRA was added only in 1998. If it were a person, it would be barely old enough to drink. Even index funds were developed only in the 1970s. We've only had 50 years to master these new tools concepts, making us collectively inexperienced in the modern money game. B. We all view and think about money differently. The person who grew up in poverty thinks about risk and reward in ways the child of a wealthy banker cannot fathom if he tried. The stockbroker who lost everything during the Great Depression experienced something the tech worker basking in the glory of the late 1990s can't imagine. The Australian who hasn't seen a recession in 30 years has experienced something no American ever has. So all of us, you, me, everyone, go through life anchored to a set of views about how money works that vary wildly from person to person. What seems crazy to you might make sense to me. That's not because one of us is smarter than the other or has better information. It's because we've had different lives shaped by different and equally persuasive experiences. We all make decisions based on our own unique experiences that seem to make sense to us in a given moment. Your personal experiences with money make up maybe 0.000001% of what's happened in the world, but maybe 80% of how you think the world works. Hence, we must learn to make investment decisions based on our goals and investment options rather than experiences. The world is always changing, and relying on your experiences means you are basing your decisions on knowledge of a different world. Chapter 2. Luck, risk. They have a bigger impact than financial skills. Nothing is as good as or as bad as it seems. Not all success is due to hard work, and not all poverty is due to laziness. We tend to overemphasize skills and effort when outcomes are often influenced more by luck and risk. No financial outcome, either a success or a failure, is purely due to hard work and/or sound decisions. We are one person in a game with 7 billion other people and infinite moving parts. The accidental impact of actions outside of our control can be more consequential than the ones we consciously take. To explain this point, the author uses the example of Bill Gates. Bill Gates was smart, hard-working, and had a rare affinity with computers. However, he was also lucky to attend one of the only high schools in his time with a computer which the author estimates to be a 1 in a million chance. Gates eventually co-founded Microsoft with his classmate Paul Allen. They had a close friend, Kent Evans, who also shared their skills and passion with computers. Yet, Evans wasn't a part of Microsoft because he died on a mountaineering accident before he graduated high school. The odds of being killed on a mountain in high school are roughly 1 in a million. Both Gates and Evans were smart and loved computers, but they fell on two extreme ends of luck and risk. When looking at the successes of billionaires, CEOs, and other rich people, it is difficult to identify what is luck, what is skill, and what is risk. Hence, when trying to learn about the best way to manage money, we should not be observing successes and failures of individuals and saying, "Do what she did, avoid what he did." Those at the top may have been the benefactors of luck, while those at the bottom may have been the victims of risk. The author suggests that we focus less on specific individuals and more on broad patterns of success and failure. The more common the pattern, the more applicable it might be to your life. Trying to emulate Warren Buffett's investment success is hard, because his results are so extreme that the role of luck in his lifetime performance is very likely high, and luck isn't something you can reliably emulate. But realizing that people who have control over their time tend to be happier in life is a broad and common enough observation that you can do something with it. Finally, recognizing the role of luck in success and the role of risk in failure helps us develop greater humility when things are going right, and compassion when they are going wrong. When things are going well, know that you're not invincible. When things are going bad, know that you're not a disaster. Chapter 3. Never enough. Learn to stop shifting the goalpost. There are countless rich individuals who have lost everything because they felt the millions they had were not enough. The lesson we learn from these failures is that we shouldn't risk what we have and need for what we don't have and don't need. In the book, the author gives the examples of Rajat Gupta and Bernie Madoff, people who had everything but wanted more. They brought ruin upon themselves because they were greedy and didn't know when to stop. The hardest financial skill, it seems, is to stop the goalposts from moving. Once we achieve our goals, we look towards the next goal, and the cycle never ends. This is often driven by comparing ourselves to others who are above us in the ladder that we benchmark ourselves against. When it comes to money, someone will always have more of it than us, and that's totally okay. Enough doesn't mean that we stop the pursuit of financial success. Enough means that we know when to avoid doing something we will regret. Many things are not worth the risk. regardless of the gains: reputation, freedom, family and friends, love and happiness. There is no reason to risk what you have and need for what you don't have and don't need. Chapter 4. Confounding Compounding. Leverage the power of compounding. Good investing isn't necessarily about earning the highest returns, because the highest returns tend to be one-off hits that can't be repeated. It's about earning pretty good returns that you can stick with, and which can be repeated for the longest period of time. That's when compounding runs wild. The author presents us with the example of Warren Buffett. Buffett may be a brilliant investor, but his biggest secret isn't his investment strategy or formula. It's time. Unlike most people, he started investing when he was 10 years old. So by the time he was 30, when most people start investing, he already had a net worth of $1 million. Even then, $81.5 billion of his $84.5 billion net worth came after his 65th birthday. Investing consistently from age 10 to at least age 89 is what made compounding work wonders. That single point is what matters most when describing his success. That's the power of compounding and time. But compounding only works if you can give an asset years to grow. It's like planting oak trees. A year of growth will never show much progress. 10 years can make a meaningful difference, and 50 years can create something absolutely extraordinary. Don't take big risks in hope for the highest possible returns. Go for decent returns that can be sustained over a long time. Start investing as early as possible and wait for the money to grow. The counterintuitive nature of compounding leads even the smartest of us to overlook its enormous power. $81.5 billion of Warren Buffett's $84.5 billion net worth came after his 65th birthday. Our minds are not built to handle such absurdities. Chapter 5. Getting wealthy versus staying wealthy. Both take different skill sets. Good investing is not necessarily about making good decisions. It's about consistently not screwing up. Getting money requires taking risks, being optimistic, and putting yourself out there. But keeping money requires the opposite of taking risk. It requires the following two things. A. Humility and fear that what you've made can be taken away from you just as fast. B. Frugality and an acceptance that at least some of what you've made is attributable to luck, so past success can't be relied upon to repeat indefinitely. The ability to stick around for a long time, without wiping out or being forced to give up, is what makes the biggest difference. This should be the cornerstone of your strategy, whether it's in investing or your career, or a business you own. According to the author, financial success can be summarized by one word: survival. Applying the survival mindset to the real world comes down to appreciating three things. More than I want big returns, I want to be financially unbreakable. And if I'm unbreakable, I actually think I'll get the biggest returns, because I'll be able to stick around long enough for compounding to work wonders. Planning is important, but the most important part of every plan is to plan on the plan not going according to plan. The more you need specific elements of a plan to be true, the more fragile your financial life becomes. If there's enough room for error in your savings rate that you can say, "It'd be great if the market returns 8% a year over the next 30 years, but if it only does 4% a year, I'll still be okay," the more valuable your plan becomes. Be optimistic about the future, but paranoid about the obstacles to your success. Sensible optimism is a belief that the odds are in your favor, and over time things will balance out to a good outcome, even if what happens in between is filled with misery. Take, for example, how the US economy has performed over the last 170 years. But do you know what happened during this period? 1.3 million Americans died while fighting 9 major wars. 4 US presidents were assassinated. 675,000 Americans died in a single year from a flu pandemic. 33 recessions lasted a cumulative 48 years. The number of forecasters who predicted any of those recessions rounds to zero. The stock market fell more than 10% from a recent high at least 102 times. Stocks lost a third of their value at least 12 times. Annual inflation exceeded 7% in 20 separate years. Our standard of living increased 20-fold in these 170 years, even though barely a day went by that lacked tangible reasons for pessimism. Chapter 6. Tales You Win. Be okay with failures because they are inevitable. Warren Buffett has owned 400 to 500 stocks during his life. He's made the majority of his money on 10 of them. A lot of things in business and investing work this way. Long tails, the farthest ends of a distribution of outcomes, have tremendous influence in finance, where a small number of events can account for the majority of outcomes. The investment decisions you make on 99% of days don't matter. It's the decisions you make on a small number of days when something big is happening, a massive downturn, a frothy market, a speculative bubble, etc., that make all the difference. The author describes an investing genius as an individual who can do the average thing when all those around them are going crazy. Chapter 7. Freedom. Controlling your time is the highest dividend money pays. The highest form of wealth is the ability to wake up every morning and say, I can do whatever I want, when I want, with who I want, for as long as I want. Money's greatest intrinsic value is its ability to give you control over your time. This, more than your salary, more than the size of your house, more than the prestige of your job, more than anything, is the highest dividend money pays. Chapter 8. Man in the Car Paradox. Money does not buy respect. No one is impressed with your possessions as much as you are. The man in the car paradox is that people rarely think somebody is cool if they see them driving a nice car. Instead, people imagine how cool other people would think they are if they had that car. This is a paradox because others would have the same thoughts and not consider you cool. The author applies this more broadly to wealth. People acquire wealth because they believe this will make them be liked and admired. But wealth just makes others use this as a benchmark for their own desire to be liked and admired. If respect and admiration are your goal, be careful how you seek it. Humility, kindness, and empathy will bring you more respect than horsepower ever will. Chapter 9. Wealth is what you don't see. Difference between rich and wealthy. Spending money to show people how much money you have is the fastest way to have less money. We tend to judge wealth by what we see because that's the information we have in front of us. But the truth is that wealth is what you don't see. Rich is a current income. Nice cars purchased, diamonds bought, but wealth is hidden. Those who decide not to buy something now to buy something later will stay wealthy for longer. Wealth's value lies in offering you options, flexibility, and growth to one day purchase more stuff than you could right now. Not knowing the difference is a source of countless poor money decisions. Chapter 10. Save money. Your savings rate is key. The only factor you can control generates one of the only things that matters. Building wealth has little to do with your income or investment returns, and lots to do with your savings rate. One can build wealth without a high income, but has no chance of building wealth without a high savings rate. Savings can be created by spending less. You can spend less if you desire less, and you will desire less if you care less about what others think of you. But saving does not require a goal of purchasing something specific. You can save just for saving's sake. Savings without a spending goal gives you options and flexibility, the ability to wait and the opportunity to pounce. It gives you time to think. It lets you change course on your own terms. If you have flexibility, you can wait for good opportunities, both in your career and for your investments. You'll have a better chance of being able to learn a new skill when it's necessary. You'll have more leeway to find your passion and your niche at your own pace. You can find a new routine, a slower pace, and think about life with a different set of assumptions. Rest of the chapters I've explained in the other video. Click on the I button or on end screen to watch this. If you want to go through the textbook, I put the link of the book in the description. You can go through it. Make sure to subscribe the channel to listen more audiobooks. Thank you.